Ice Creations Radio. My name is Henrik Palmgren. This is Internet Talk Radio, recorded from the west coast of Sweden. I am the editor of redicecreations.com. You can hear a new show every Thursday and Sunday. We do interviews with interesting guests, researchers, authors on new and old subjects, all up there for you to enjoy. You can help us out, help us keep going by subscribing to Red Ice Creation, and you'll get full access to our radio archive. So I hope you check it out. You can find much more info about that by just clicking on subscribe from our front page at redicecreations.com. Today we are gearing up for part 2 with the Collins brothers. Paul and Phillip are joining us today, who was with us about 2 weeks ago, and we did part 1 of the Panoptic Age, or the Age of the All-Seeing Eye, an excellent and very detailed, lengthy article of theirs. I highly recommend going back into our archive and checking out part 1 in case you missed it before you continue listening to this show. We are going to backtrack a bit, go over a few things that we didn't get to last time, and also maybe explore some avenues that we didn't get to. Also, before we bring on our guests, I just want to mention that you can find much more of Paul and Philip's writing on conspiracyarchive.com. And you should also check out their book, of course, The Ascendancy of the Scientific Dictatorship. It's available at amazon.com. And they also have a column over at raidersnewsnetwork.com that you can check out. So, okay, let's say welcome back to the Collins brothers. Nice to have you back, guys, so soon. Thanks for coming on.
Nice to be back. Thank you, Henrik. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great to have you back, guys. And, I'd like to begin today to talk a little bit more about what I refer to as the Gnostic connection, because you guys had a really interesting part of your article where you kind of connect the Enlightenment with, of course, the Illuminati and its founder, Adam Weishaupt, with the Jesuits or the Society of Jesus, and that all of this kind of has its roots in Gnosticism. And if any of you guys kind of want to pick up the ball on that one and kind of maybe we can go through that again for people who don't follow along in all the connections that you made between these areas.
Sure. Well, again, the neoconservative dominated Bush regime, the Information Awareness Office and the Total Information Awareness Program were basically initiated under the neoconservative dominated regime of George W. And, of course, the TIA and the IOA were defunded by Congress. However, the programs that were taking place under those programs have continued under different funding. So, of course, they're just sneaking in the system of panoptic surveillance under different funding and through the back door, so to speak. But the logo for the program was very telling. It was semiotically significant in that it presented, first off, the all-seeing eye crowning the truncated pyramid. And, of course, this insignia was used by Adam Weishaupt's infamous Illuminati, which, of course, was a product of the Enlightenment. It basically was represented the violent, subversive, obscurantist wing of the Enlightenment of the 18th century. It also presented the Baconian slogan, "Knowledge is power." And according to Karl Raschke, this slogan synchronizes relatively comfortably with the magico-religious mentality of Gnosticism. And, of course, Bacon, Sir Francis Bacon, in the 17th century, authored what was known as the New Atlantis, which basically systematized all the means and methods of technocratic governance and assembled them into a comprehensive tome. And Sir Francis Bacon himself was tutored in several schools of esotericism, Gnosticism being one. Now, these continued Gnostic strains of thought within that become evident within the iconography surrounding the TIA and the IAO, or the Information Awareness Office, which, by the way, that acronym has some semiotic similarities with a demiurge that is allegedly invoked in several Masonic rituals. This becomes very evident. The Gnostic strain of thought becomes very evident in neoconservative thinking, neoconservative philosophy. the neoconservatives are basically seeking to, in the words of Eric Voegelin, emanetize the eschaton. That is, they are attempting to take the eschaton, the concept of the end of days, which was one of the traditional concepts of the Abrahamic faiths. The end of days being the passing away of the world system, and basically the end of the world system and the ushering in of eternal bliss and basically an eternal paradise. They are attempting to take that, the eschaton, and take that object of faith and draw that object into the realm of emanate experience. That is, they're trying to bring the eschaton, the end of days, to earth, to the ontological plane of the physical universe through the work of their own hands. This paradise that they're ushering in, however, is antithetical to the one that is looked to by the traditional Abrahamic faiths, by Muslims, Christians, and Jews. This one would be completely and totally restricted and confined to the ontological plane of the physical universe, and it would be one initiated by the hand of man, not the hand of God. And basically what they seek to do is bring the continuum of history to an absolute halt. And by basically immobilizing history and the continuum of history, they are hoping to freeze it in a state of utopian permanence. See, the impermanence of history and history's overall lack of any intrinsic ethos basically frustrates the neo-Gnostic or secular Gnostic, the secular Gnostic mind, because it does not allow for them to initiate any sort of utopian plans, because history is consistently changing and history is consistently moving forward, and so that leaves a great deal of the work that Gnostics strive towards, the emanetization of the eschaton, that leaves it at the sway of the flux of history itself. And this sort of thinking is evident. This Gnostic strain of thought is evident with neoconservative ideologues. For instance, Francis Fukuyama has authored a book entitled The End of History and the Last Man. So basically right there you see the Gnostic emanetist vision of history being completely and totally frozen and immobilized in utopian permanence. Now, this basically goes back to the Enlightenment. In fact, several astute researchers have recognized the Enlightenment pedigree of the neoconservatives. In fact, Larry Wilkerson, who helped Colin Powell assemble the bogus dossier on Iraq, has referred to the neoconservatives as Jacobins or Jacobins. He says that they find their ideological heritage with Robespierre. And the Jacobins were basically part of the subversive, obscurantist, violent revolutionary wing of the Enlightenment. And much of the Jacobin thought and thinking is very much evident in neoconservative doctrine. For instance, neoconservatives strive to export what's known as social democratism. And that's different from Jeffersonian democracy. That's not representative Jeffersonian democracy, which is a staple of America's constitutional republican system. That is more so plebiscitary democracy or majoritarian democracy, which V.I. Lenin contended was indispensable to socialism. So you can see already the neo-Jacobin pedigree of the neoconservatives and their Enlightenment pedigree. But basically, the significance of the Enlightenment and its Gnostic connection is that the Enlightenment basically represented a period of time during which Gnostic doctrine was codified as revolutionary doctrine. Throughout history, we have religions being somewhat evenly divided into two varieties. There were the theocentric religions, which acknowledged the centrality of a transcendent God to the redemption and perfection of man, and then there were the anthropocentric religions, which arguably originated 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, particularly in Babylon and Egypt. And it's out of these religions that Gnosticism would arise. And these religions basically held aloft the cognitive powers of man as the chief facilitators of his own salvation. Self-salvation is at the heart and core of all Gnostic doctrine. And with the Enlightenment, what basically took place was gnosis, the concept of gnosis, of the knowledge and the cognitive powers of man basically acting as man's the mechanism through which man would achieve apotheosis, that is, becoming a god. That became part of revolutionary rhetoric. It became part. It's evident, for instance, with Marxism, which came out of the Enlightenment and came out of the French Revolution, which represented the nadir of the Enlightenment. Basically, Marxism holds that man attains his own salvation, brings about his own salvation by his own hand, not the hand of any transcendent God. This is one of the reasons, the real reasons for communism's insistence upon the abolition of religion, is because while it proffers itself as an alternative to religion, it's really offering up its own anthropocentric alternative. It's offering up mankind as the one and only God, and it's thus an anthropocentric religion. It's secular humanism, which secular humanism, basically, if you look at secular humanism is basically Luciferianism disseminated on the popular level under a different appellation. And again, that whole dissemination took place under the Enlightenment as well. The sacred text of the Enlightenment was Diderot's Encyclopedia, and this secular Bible, or secular answer to the Bible, was adorned with symbols of occult Freemasonry and even an illustration of Lucifer. And basically, Lucifer, the Enlightenment venerated Lucifer as a symbol of man's potential to be apotheosized through his own cognitive powers. And following the Gnostic practice of immanentization, Enlightenment thinkers such as Diderot reconceptualized Lucifer as an object of immanent experience, and he was no longer a spiritual entity. Now he was a purely immanent force that incarnated himself through human reason. But at any rate, you see again this sort of thinking very much evident in neoconservative doctrine, specifically with the neoconservatives' quest to basically immobilize history within a state of utopian permanence, basically immanentize the eschaton, and basically attain salvation through mankind through their own efforts, not the efforts of any transcendent God. So while they have been kind of misrepresented as being, conservatives, as traditionalists, as somehow being part and parcel of the Christian right, they come out of a very anti-Christian, very much anti-Christian and anti-traditionalist trajectory.
Do you think that these guys have adopted this to actually, as